right, welcome back to a whole new episode of the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm Dan LaForest. You're watching the #1 high school football show in the state of Florida, and tonight, another reason why. We've got some great interviews. I have got a one-on-one with Zavier Avera, big offensive tackle for Jones High School. And it's not that he's just announcing his commitment. There is a wonderful story behind this young man and the road that he has traveled and what his ambitions are. And we know you're going to enjoy it. And then we've got an exclusive with Shelton Crews, the Executive Director of the FHSAA, talking about what the FHSAA is doing for student athletes here in the state of Florida. And then finally, one-on-one, I have a great conversation with Craig Damon, the new Executive Director of the Florida High School Athletic Association. And Craig and I had a great discussion, and hopefully you guys are going to get to know him a little bit more and his passion for what he wants to do with that organization. So buckle up. You're getting ready to watch a whole new episode. You're watching the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network, and we'll be back right after these messages.
The Varsity Sports Network is proud to present Media Days 2022. 16 live events from every corner of the state of Florida, preparing you for the upcoming 2022 football season. Check out all the events live on varsitysportsnetwork.org, on Facebook, Twitter, and also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. That's varsitysportsnetwork.org, the only 24/7 high school sports network.
We're often asked, what's more important in retirement, having a great plan or working with a great advisor? The answer is that both are vitally important to your retirement success. Retirement planning is not just a one and done. Even the best plans will need to be adjusted. That's exactly why we need an experienced advisor to guide you on your journey. How confident are you? Call us today for a second opinion.
We got dugout mugs here, baseball bats into a mug. Almost every baseball player ever has stepped into the batter's box and said, damn, wish I could drink out of my bat right now. Now you can. Look, it's nice, it's smooth, it holds liquid. We got Yankees, we got more Yankees, we got Aaron Judge Signature Series. We know you love him. So go get yourself a dugout mug. Put it on your shelf, build a collection like I have, or bring them to the tailgate, use them as their function is meant to, and everyone's gonna be coming up to you and say, dude, where'd you get that mug? That's so cool. You say dugout mugs.
Are you in the market for the finest athletic apparel available? Check out theimperialpoint.com. Fully sublimated designs, top quality, made in the USA apparel for any team and any fan. Check them out today at theimperialpoint.com or give them a call at 800-801-4884. Imperial Point Apparel, made in the USA.
And you're watching Varsity Sports Network!
All right, welcome back to the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm Dan LaForest, and now I'm being joined by Zavier Avera, left tackle for Jones High School, and his mother, Kimberly. Guys, welcome to the Florida Gridiron Report.
Hi, thank you.
All right, Zavier, this is your moment. I know you have some big news. Let's go ahead and drop it, buddy.
So first, I'd like to take this time, thank God, without him, I wouldn't be here. I want to thank my mom, for supporting me all the way. Thank Coach Will for giving me the opportunity to play for him in the Jones High School Tiger football team. And without further ado, I would like to announce that I will be committed to the Ohio University Go Bobcats.
All right, that is amazing, and congratulations. So, this show typically doesn't really get into the recruiting announcements, and that's something that we're going to be developing something. First of all, this is amazing, but you're on this show because of everything that's led up to this. So let's talk about the fact that you didn't even play football until your junior year. You've been a basketball player, Xavier.
Yes, sir. Ever since I was young, I had a basketball in my hand, and ever since freshman year, started on JV, played. Then after freshman year, I told my mom, I said, I want to switch it up. I'm tired of basketball. I want to find something new. She said, all right. So I said I was going to play football. So at first, she thought I was just joking because, like she said, I never wanted to touch football again. But until I went to workouts, that's when she knew I was serious. But then COVID had hit after in the middle of my freshman year, so I couldn't really play. Then sophomore year came, I played basketball. I was on varsity. Then after that, I told her, I was like, I'm done. That's when I really got heavy into football. And spring, played JV and started. Then going into the summer workouts, it was pretty good. And then the season came. I was playing right tackle. I was on second string, but then our center got hurt. Coach Will, he told me one day after practice, he was like, hey, go snap the ball. And I went to snap the ball. So the following week, we're playing IMG, our starting center messing up. Then Coach Will, he called my name. He was like, Avery, go get in. So I got in. I had no bad snaps, good blocks, all that. So after that, I started for the rest of this season, going to the playoffs. First time ever on the field, nervous, everything, and didn't know what to do. But I'm really thankful for the opportunity because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the better player I am today. So I really appreciate Coach Will for just believing in me and trusting me.
Now, Miss Avera, part of this story is really kind of cool. I want you to tell everybody about the fact that Xavier actually did play football once before, didn't he?
Yeah, he played football once when he was 6. When he was 6 years old, he played football for a local Pop Warner team in Orlando. And it was the first game that he had ever been in. And one of the defensive boys came through and knocked him on his back. And he ran over to the coach and told him, Coach, I don't want to play football anymore.
And that's not, hey, listen, don't be that is a typical youth sport or story right there.
And so he held the ball for the punter for the rest of the season.
Hey, Xavier, lots happened between now and then, though. You know what I'm saying?
A lot
So, now you find yourself, but, what a lot of people don't know about you, too, is you've got a 4.8 GPA.
Yes,
you're going to be graduating early in December. And why don't you talk a little bit about what you want to study?
So in college, I want to study aerospace engineering, but I also want to study computer science. I got into aerospace a couple years ago when it was a lesson in my history class. We talked about the space race, when Russia, United States, and China always racing to first get to the moon. So I took a strong interest in that, and I started researching jobs that got to do in that field. And I found an aerospace engineer. Aerospace engineers, well, first engineers, they take a problem and they figure out how to solve it. So a problem that us as a nation has is trying to get to Mars. You see in recent times SpaceX and all the programs they shut down and they trying to get to Mars. So I asked myself, how can I contribute to that? And ever since then, I found a strong interest in building spaceships, satellites, and cameras like that. And I want to work for NASA. I feel like I can contribute to their research and their funding and programs, stuff like that.
Well, we need guys, because I don't know if I can get a 6'6" guy into a space capsule. But there's a lot you can do on the ground, and this is amazing. So, Xavier, tell me why Ohio University?
All right, so when Ohio first offered me, I was excited. That was my second offer. My first offer was Marshall. Ohio was my second offer. So a couple weeks ago, like last week or the week before, I took my official visit, everything was good. The coaching staff loved this. They showed a lot of love. They took me around the campus, took pictures. But the thing that stood out to me the most is when the day of the tour, they took us to Buffalo Wild Wings. And my mom, she had a migraine headache, and she asked for a Coke. But Buffalo Wild Wings, they only have Pepsi products. So Coach Alan Rudolph, he's the offensive line coach. He's going to offer me. Coach Alan Rudolph, he got up, he didn't say a word. He walked out the door, walked across the street. Next thing you know, he come back in with a giant thing of Coke, And to me, that's what made like I knew this was home, because like I love my mom, and like if you're gonna take care of my mom, then I know like you're gonna take care of me, And like that's really what like made me like want to commit to Ohio. But what sealed the deal is I told like it's bigger than football there. I told him, I was like, Coach, I just started back fishing, I never caught a fish, not even before I finished the sentence. You want to go fishing tomorrow? I was like, let's do it, Coach. He took me fishing. And it's a picture of me standing with the fish. I had the big smile. And I told him, I was like, this is school I'm going to.
Yep.
And ever since then, been locked in.
Well, hang on to that feeling. And Miss Avera, you've got to be extremely proud of your son right now.
I am just over the moon proud of him. He is an exceptional child, never given me any problems. Thank God for that. His studies are impeccable. He's a kid, my only son. He has a sister who's disabled that we take care of full time, and he helps out with her. So for him to have, the athleticism, for him to have the 4.8 GPA, to be in civil organizations within, it's just amazing how God has opened this path for him, just from playing in 1 year, just his first year playing. So my heart flutters, I smile, and I'm just so proud of him. And without Coach Will, none of this would have happened. And I'm just appreciative to Elijah for all that he's done for my son.
No, he's definitely an outstanding coach, but let's make no mistake, Xavier's put in the work, and he has created an opportunity for himself.
Absolutely.
And we're just very happy to see him move forward. And on behalf of the family here at VSN, we look forward to watching you play this fall, and we're going to be watching even beyond that. Well, guys, thanks for joining us, and we wish you all the best in the world.
Thanks
that
so
is
much.
Kimberly and Xavier Avera. And Xavier, I'm going to ask you right now, why did you want to come on VSN?
VSN, best strength, high school sports, best thing you need right there. Tune in to VSN.
There we go. All right, guys, we got Shelton Crews from the FHSAA up next. You're watching the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network, and we'll be back right after these messages.
The Varsity Sports Network is proud to present Media Days 2022. 16 live events from every corner of the state of Florida, preparing you for the upcoming 2022 football season. Check out all the events live on varsitysportsnetwork.org, on Facebook, Twitter, and also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. That's varsitysportsnetwork.org, the only 24/7 high school sports network.
Hello, my name is Frank Lavalio with Security Financial Management. For the last 35 years, we've been helping formulate tax-efficient retirement income plans. Many of our clients are extremely concerned with increasing federal debt and that taxes could go up significantly. Call today for your no-obligation complimentary consultation. We have the specific tools to help you develop your own tax-efficient retirement income plan.
And I used to throw a ball up against the house from the time I was about 8 years old till I got into high school. I walked on at Kent State University. I was fortunate enough to be a recommending scout for the Cincinnati Reds for 27 years. I don't know know if you say that baseball's in our genes, it just seems like it was handed down from my dad to me, to my sons and grandsons.
Are you in the market for the finest athletic apparel available? Check out theimperialpoint.com. Fully sublimated designs, top quality, made in the USA apparel for any team and any fan. Check them out today at theimperialpoint.com or give them a call at 800-801-4884. Imperial Point Apparel, made in the USA.
All right, welcome back to the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm Dan LaForest. Now being joined by the Executive Director of the Florida Athletic Coaches Association, Shelton Crews. Shelton, welcome back to the FGR.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
You know, you're going into your 13th year as the Executive Director, and the FHSAA has done such a wonderful job with promoting high school athletics here in the state of Florida with the coaches clinics. We're here in Daytona right now for the summer clinic, getting ready for fall season, but also the all-star events. Let's talk about the FHSAA and what you guys are planning for 2022 and 2023 school year.
Well, this summer clinic kind of kicks us off for the start of the next year, and that's followed up with a basketball clinic right here in Daytona in October, and then we have our softball, baseball clinic, and with golf and tennis in December, and then we have our big spring sports clinic in January. That finishes up with the 2023 Hall of Fame inductions. So we got a big year planned. All-Stars will start just like we did this past year. This past year's All-Star events were all live streamed on Varsity Sports Network, which I think it went over very, very well, and a lot of good stuff occurred from that. But we'll have volleyball and cross country in Lakeland. We'll have football. I think it's the 67th annual North-South All-Star Game, live from the villages. Then we'll have boys and girls soccer back at Mulberry in March, and then the following weekend after that will be the girls and boys basketball All-Star Classic. Then Flag Football Classic in May, followed up with our softball and baseball events in Lakeland at Florida Southern and Tigertown. So got a busy year ahead. We did a lot of things differently last year, and we've had to do things differently the last 2 years with coming out of the pandemic and things like that. And so, but we've been able to make it. We've been able to add some new twist to it, from our online all-star confirmations that we use now, and it makes it easier on the coaches end. I'm one of the guys, I'm a type of guy that if it's hard on my end, but it's easy on our coaches' end, I'm okay with that. I don't want to do things that makes it easy on my end and hard on their end. So I'm gonna make sure that we keep moving forward with our all-star events. And when you're here in the state of Florida, and we're the king of the country when it comes to athletics, we're going to provide some of the best athletes across the state.
And I tell you what, state of Florida does do that, but I could tell from experience. We covered the baseball All-Star Game this year from Tigertown down in Lakeland. What an incredible field!
Historic Tigertown.
I tell you what, that was amazing. And talking about historic, the number of players that have come out of the state of Florida and played in Major League Baseball, the list was absolutely incredible. Dwight Gooden, Alice Rodriguez played in this game. And, you've seen this happen year after year of how significant a game like this, not to mention the ladies softball classic at Southeastern University was amazing as well.
No, that was Florida Southern.
Florida Southern, I'm sorry.
Volleyball was at Southeastern.
Volleyball was at Southeastern, but, again, these events are getting that visibility out there for a lot of great athletes right here in the state of Florida.
Yep, they, when we moved to the Tigertown in 2017, it just kind of changed things, and that facility's been the Tigers facility for a long, I want to say about 70 years maybe. And of course they've done massive renovations, and I think they have some more renovations, in the dining hall and the dorms and stuff like that down on the back side of it. But Mr. Meyer and his staff, the grounds guy Brian and his administrative assistant Shannon Follett that kind of runs it, they've done an outstanding job, and they've just opened their arms up to us. And like always, any of our events, we want to be a good guest, and we think we have been.
Let's talk about FHSAA membership. Why is it important for coaches across the state of Florida to become a member with the FHSAA?
Well, first and foremost, you ought to always support your professional organization. Okay, and we are the State Coaches Association and have been since 1936. I'm fortunate enough to be only the 4th executive director in our history, which we're closing in on 85 years. We started these clinics in the summer with a group of football coaches that wanted to meet and hang out together and do some professional development and kind of try to solve all the year's problems and push forward. And then they started we added the All-Star football game in 49, All-Star boys basketball in 50, and then the others came about in the late 70s, especially the girls' sports right after Title IX passed, and I think Title IX was in early to mid 70s, and at that time, the FHSAA and the FHCA was working together on that, and the FHSAA said, "Hey, Coach Association, you take the All-Star games, we'll back out, and you do them like you want to do them." And so that's when girls basketball was created in 78. We added boys soccer in 1980, I believe, and it was in conjunction with the old Sunshine State Games. Then we added girls soccer, I think maybe 85. Added volleyball sometime along in that time span. Was able to, I think we just did our 32nd softball All-Star Classic this past year. So, and we just finished our 43rd baseball All-Star Classic, which all started there in the early 80s, late 70s. And we added girls flag football, which is becoming a huge, huge sport for our ladies in this state, and added that in 2011. So we have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot that we want to keep doing. We want to make sure that everyone knows that we're going to be the voice of the coaches, and we're going to support you. And I'm really excited about Craig Damon taking over in Gainesville for the FHSAA. He's a quality individual.
Yeah, let's talk about Craig. You've been one of the strongest voices here in the state of Florida promoting not only change but also stability within our leadership. You have an extensive relationship with Craig. You coach with him back at North Marion, and I know you're excited about him taking this role as the executive director of the FHSAA.
Well, I hired him as my running backs coach in 1993, and we worked together for 2 years. And I knew something was special about him then. And then after I left, through a couple of coaching changes, he eventually became the head coach. I think it was in 98 or 99. I want to say December 98 or 99. He finally became the head coach. Of course, that's where he went to school. Him being an alum, and he had an outstanding career himself. And he and I went to all the, I started even going to coaching clinics, and even when I was coaching in Tallahassee, we would always see each other at coaching clinics. And then when I took this job, he was still involved. And Craig is somebody that's a very good listener. He's a problem solver. I think he's going to be proactive instead of reactive. And I think you're going to see some different mindsets down there and different ways of doing things. And shoot, they've been there 100 and something years, and this is the first coach to ever lead that organization. You don't think we're happy? We're tickled to death. You know, Hall of Fame
There's
member.
a lot of people happy.
Hall of Fame member with the FHCA, and I'm just tickled to death for him. I mean, him and his, you know, he was here earlier and spoke and brought his wife Nisi, and of course I went to their wedding when they got married and down in Ocala. So and he and I go back to. He would always bring his wife to the clinic, and my son would come along, and our sons would. Nisi took care of them while me and him was at the coaching clinic. I was a football chairman running the speaker rooms, and he was there, and she took him to the beach, to the movie, to the splash pad thing up there, the water slides, and they had a big time growing up at 9, 10, 11 years old. And those are times that we'll never forget, and our boys won't either. So we go back a ways, and I'm ecstatic over what he's going to bring to the FHSAA.
Well, I tell you what, we're excited at Varsity Sports Network because I know that the FHCA and VSN have our priorities in line. We want to bring high school athletics to the front and center, and this is what we are doing together. Again, Shelton Crews, the Executive Director of the FHCAA, and you're watching the Florida Gridiron Report right here on Varsity Sports Network. I've got a one-on-one with Craig Damon, the new Executive Director of the FHSAA, right after these messages.
The Varsity Sports Network is proud to present Media Days 2022. 16 live events from every corner of the state of Florida, preparing you for the upcoming 2022 football season. Check out all the events live on varsitysportsnetwork.org, on Facebook, Twitter, and also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. That's varsitysportsnetwork.org, the only 24/7 high school sports network.
When you're a star high school student athlete, you compete tirelessly on the court and in the classroom to achieve your one dream of playing in college. Top schools recruit you and even offer you a scholarship. Then senior year hits, and you find out that the class you took actually doesn't count. Your GPA is .25 off, or your SAT score is 10 points too low. All because your counselor, your coach, and your parents couldn't make sense of the rules. And by the time you find out, it was too late to catch up. Boom. Game over. Honest Game is the clear pathway for getting in. We automate the process so the student, the parent, the coach, the counselor, and the college all get real-time eligibility updates. With Honest Game, everyone knows what to do before it's too late. In the last 20 years, total athletic scholarship money has grown from $2.5 million to over $3 billion. With the NCAA on the verge of allowing student athletes to earn money on their likeness, recruits and college coaches will more than ever need to know their eligibility status. Learn more at honestgame.com and let the dream live on.
All right, welcome back to the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. Dan LaForest now being joined by the brand new Executive Director of the Florida High School Athletic Association, Craig Damon. Coach, welcome to the FGR.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you're taking the reins officially this Friday, July 1st. This has been talked about quite a bit around the state. Tell me about your excitement for taking this position, because you've been embedded not only in high school football, but within the FHSAA for quite some time.
Super excited about the opportunity. There's just so much, I guess, just wants to come out of me because I'm so excited about this opportunity and where the association can grow to. Being a product of the Florida High School Athletic Association as a student athlete that provided me an opportunity to go to college, I am very grateful. I understand the importance that high school sports play in a young student's life, and just thrilled to be a part of it.
You know, this is also kind of bittersweet because anybody that comes into any situation, whether you're taking over a company, in essence, that's what you're doing.
you want to put your own footprint on what needs to be done, but at the same time have the respect for what's done before you. What are some of the things that you're excited about putting your footprint on?
Before I get to what I want to do, the things that I'm most, I guess I will carry forward with me is the legacies that the previous executive directors have left with me, working for Dr. Deering. Dr. Deering was a great leader. He had a charismality that was very unique, very hands-on type person that, had a fun relationship with you. And Mr. Tomlin had an opportunity to work for him the past 5 years. Mr. Tomlin is he allows us to do our job, so he's not one of the ones that want to look over his shoulder. But I love the way his attention to detail. I always carried a little notepad with him, and he would write little things down to help him remember about those things. And typically, I'm the coach, have the coach mentality where there's 1,000 things going through my head at any point in time. So that's one of the things I will take from Mr. Tomlin is the ability to keep a notepad with me at all times. So to write some of those ideas that come to across my head so I don't forget those ideas. But my vision started out probably a year and a half ago after COVID hit, and everybody was sheltered in and we weren't out as much as we're in the past. For the 21-22 school year, on my little whiteboard in my office, I wrote 4 things down that were goals for me in my role as the Associate Executive Director in charge of eligibility and compliance. And the first thing was to reconnect with our membership. We didn't have in-house or in-person meetings with our committees like we've done in the past. Our section appeals were done via Zoom for a while. So we sort of lost that connection with our membership. Nothing to do with anything with the association, but more just from a reaction from the pandemic. So that interpersonal relationship, those opportunities to engage in face-to-face conversation were lost. And that's something that I feel is one of my strengths. One of the things that I find to be very important is I like interacting with folks. I like engaging with someone in person as opposed to communicating via email or via phone. It just gives us a more personal sense. So first goal is to reconnect with our membership. And with that mean to get out to our schools, to be at clinics, the FHSAA clinics, anytime I'm invited to partake in a banquet or awards banquet for a county or whatever. As many opportunities as I can to get out in front of our membership and show my face and interact with folks, that was top priority for me. Second thing was to rekindle with our partnerships. We had with the FACA, the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, FIAAA, FCIS, which is our independent schools. Those organizations have always been partners of the association. But again, when COVID hit, we sort of did our own separate things a little bit there, and that bond where we all were trying to achieve the same goal was just to benefit student athletes, sort of lost its take a little bit. So to find a way to reach out to those folks, I spoke with Shelton Crews, I spoke with Andy Childs, Executive Director of FIAAA, Dr. Hodges, who's in charge of FCIS, and we've all made an agreement that we are going to try to at least get on the phone or meet once a month to make sure that we stay informed of what's going on within our organizations so that we can better serve our student athletes. The third thing was coexist. I mean, there's been rumors about, or not rumors, but there's been proposed bills to allow for other associations in the state of Florida. And that sort of scares some people. For me, it doesn't scare me. I'm always have been of the assumption that, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or our association is doing the things we need to do with our membership, let there be competition. Competition part doesn't scare me, but it just means that we have to step up and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. And as long as we can coexist and knowing that we don't need to shut each other down, that's also. But segue into my fourth thing that was on my board this year, and that was to be the best brand that we can be. And that's always been, no matter what I did, if I was a coach or a player or head coach or athletic director, I wanted our program to be the best. I wanted our program to stand for, to have a quality level that folks in the community respected it and had great, wanted to be a part of it. So, being the best brand that you can be, it sort of goes back to step 3 with the coexist. If we're doing everything we need to do for our membership, then there is no issue about, folks going somewhere else and looking for another opportunity.
It's funny you said that, because Florida not only is the catalyst of putting student athletes into schools. no other state is as productive as the state of Florida. As great as Texas and California has a fan base, Florida has that elevation. From a branding standpoint, having Florida show the country that this is where high school or college athletes come from, this is where we develop them, and this is why we develop them, has got to be on the front of your mind as well. But also, I like the coexisting thing. You're right. Florida is also adding 6,000 people a day. This state continues to grow, but yet we are continuing having problems finding ways to grow our school systems in an adequate way, finding competitive pay for coaches. And then, the biggest challenge that we've talked about on Varsity Sports Network has been the officiating crisis.
Yes.
And these are things that are looming that I know are on the front of your mind as well.
And they are. And Florida, not just being in my opinion, the number one state as far as athletes are concerned, our state is probably the most diverse state in the country. I mean, when you go down south to Miami-Dade, there's schools every block till you get some of the rural areas where there's one school in the county. The poverty levels, the socioeconomic levels are so drastic across the state. I mean, to go from Pensacola to the Keys, if we were driving outside the state of Florida, we could probably reach 4 or 5 states when we travel within the same state. So there's so much diversity in the state of Florida that different things that play into how unique the state of Florida is, that it makes it challenging in a sense to try to wrap it all up together. But that's one of the things that I'm excited about, is trying to find a way to take all the different diversity that we have in the state of Florida and to get folks to focus back on that we are here about student athletes, and that is our common goal. And I share in our office all the time, at least in E&C, Eligibility and Compliance Department, that sometimes adults get in the way. I think adults have our own agenda and egos and push things forward, and the kids don't care, how it goes. The metro, non-metro, metro suburban, perfect example, spoke with our student athletes advisory committee, and we asked them about recruiting. We asked them about, metro, non-metro, about championships and things of that nature, or transfers, because those are some hot topics. And usually every year when that group comes in, recruiting and transfers is a big conversation that we have. And those kids don't even care about those things. They're like, if a kid transferred in, they're at their school, let them play. Yeah. They don't care. Could care less about it. They just want to play the game. But I think sometimes us as adults, we, our egos tell us we want to win a championship and we want to be competitive, and the kids just want to play. So trying to find that balance where we can, for me, take more input from the kids, because they're the ones on the field and they're the ones we're supposed to be serving, and taking their input and letting that lead or guide our decisions more so than adults, because adults tend to think like adults and a lot of times push for things that the kids could care less about.
And I absolutely agree with you. If anything, you want proof of that, just go on Twitter. There's plenty of Twitter spaces out there, and it has given the average fan their own radio broadcast. And some of these that I've sat on have been at times comical, because, again, at the end of the day, we're talking about young student athletes that are impressionable and they have their own hopes and dreams. And we're going to continue this conversation. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with Craig Damon. You're watching the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network, and we'll be back right after this.
We're often asked, what's more important in retirement, having a great plan or working with a great advisor? The answer is that both are vitally important to your retirement success. Retirement planning is not just a one and done. Even the best plans will need to be adjusted. That's exactly why you need an experienced partner to guide you on your journey. How confident are you? Call us today for a second opinion.
The Varsity Sports Network is proud to present Media Days 2022. 16 live events from every corner of the state of Florida, preparing you for the upcoming 2022 football season. Check out all the events live on varsitysportsnetwork.org, on Facebook, Twitter, and also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. That's varsitysportsnetwork.org, the only 24/7 high school sports network.
And I used to throw a ball up against the house from the time I was about 8 years old to I got into high school. I walked on at Kent State University. I was fortunate enough to be a recommending scout for the Cincinnati Reds for 27 years. I don't know if you say that baseball's in our genes. It just seems like it was handed down from my dad to me, to my sons and grandsons.
Are you in the market for the finest athletic apparel available? Check out theimperialpoint.com. Fully sublimated designs, top quality, made in the USA apparel for any team and any fan. Check them out today at theimperialpoint.com or give them a call at 800-801-4884. Imperial Point Apparel, made in the USA.
All right, welcome back to the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm Dan LaForest, and this is Craig Damon, the new Executive Director of the Florida High School Athletic Association. Coach, let's go back to what really got this started for you. You played and coached at North Marion. What parts of the lessons you learned as a coach are you going to be applying to your new role with the FHSAA?
The ability to build relationships is a huge part of coaching. Building relationships with everybody on the team. So to me, in my new role is building relationships with all our schools. Whether you're the smallest private school that's a member of the association that's just now forming and certain membership to be a member, or if you the largest school in the state of Florida that's been a member for the longest period of time, I need to have a relationship with all of our membership because that's important to me. Also, as a coach, it's always great to have a great game plan. You have a game plan, you look at what your strengths are, and you try to build your game plan based on our strengths of the association. And we also, the flip side of that is looking at your weaknesses, looking at areas where maybe we're not as strong and trying to improve on those all the time so that you can get to a point where we're adequate in those areas or not, or good in those areas. So always have the ability to evaluate where you are and trying to move forward and progress is a part of coaching that I hope to bring to in my role as executive director. Last thing is the ability to compete. I want the state of Florida to be the best high school athletic association in the country, or in the world for that matter. Making sure that we are keeping up with the current trends and we're putting our kids in a position where they can be successful and they can be recognized, and our coaches and our member schools as well.
Not to mention the fact that head coach is only as good as his assistant coaches, right? Putting together that coaching staff.
Great staff.
And I know you've got a great foundation really to start with here next month.
And great staff. Like I said, we made some moves within the office the past couple of weeks, which we'll announce those later on. But again, trying to find a way to motivate our staff members and, again, allow them to do their job. To me, my role is to give them the resources they need to be successful and to support them. So that's a big part of, as a head coach, I used to always kid folks and tell them, head coaching job, I'm more of the public relations guy. I do very little coaching on the field. I get to make decisions, but the assistant coaches are the ones that are calling all the shots and calling the plays and putting us in a position to be successful. Same thing in my role with the association. We have great folks, great staff, and I have all the confidence in the world that they are experts in their capacity, and will allow them to do what they do best and, again, provide the resources and the support that they need to be successful.
I'm going to go ahead and hit that hot topic, right? Let's talk Metro Suburban. It has been the biggest buzz over the last several months, and I know that's, we've tried to cover it on Varsity Sports Network so many different ways. And we went to the source. We had Price Harris on right when it was passed by the coaches board before it went to the advisory board. But let's talk about Metro Suburban and your thoughts on it right now and possibly how you see this playing out down the road.
Metro Suburban, I met with Price and talked with Ty and sat in on the Football Advisory Committee meeting when they first presented it the second time to the Football Advisory Committee. And, we shared some feedback and asked questions just to make sure they covered all the things they need to cover. And when it came to the board approved it. if nothing else, for years people have been asking for change with classifications, and here's two coaches that, kept asking. They decided to grab the bull by the horns and take it on and say, okay, I'm gonna present an idea and see where it goes. So I applaud those two and Frank Beasley and others who helped them to put this, the metro, non-metro, suburban together, and we're gonna see where it goes. There's some folks that, in the metro areas that, weren't unhappy with it, and right after the decision was made, I went down and met with those folks and tried to get some feedback and to hear their concerns and to ask them, at least let's give it a shot moving forward, and we'll take notes and we'll adjust as we go along. So I thank those folks from South Florida and Orange County that, allowed me to meet with them, but also to give it a shot and see where it goes. But to me, the biggest take from this is that it lit a fire underneath some of us too, I include myself, to come up with either to accept this, embrace this plan, or to tweak this plan, or to come up with something better. So again, going back to comments I made earlier about leading the country and being the one that's out front as far as the state of Florida is concerned, we will put forth our best effort to look at the metro, non-metro as it moves forward this year, take notes, make some tweaks if we need to make some for the following year, but to come out with a product that we all can live with, that knowing it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be as close to perfect as it can be.
Well, and the thing is I've used the comments on previous shows when we've talked about this topic is evolution. Mm-hmm. There is no immediate change. I don't care what idea comes up. When you implement something new, it's an opportunity for growth, and evolution, I think, is still the key word.
Yes.
How do you see this evolving? Do you have ideas, or are there anything that you can share now that once you learn something from this season, how you could see a huge positive coming out of it?
There's been some talks, and one of the things I shared with Price and Ty back when they were talking about it, in my opinion, from my experience as a coach for 20 years in football, there was, when I looked at my schedule or formed my schedule, looked at playoffs, I didn't look at where a school, what city, if a school was in a city or was in a metro area or a non-metro area. I looked for certain names. Back in the 2005, 2007, it was St. Augustine. It was Booker T. Washington, Booker T. Sarasota Booker out of Sarasota. Those were the names in my classification I looked for. Joey Wiles, great coach at St. Augustine. We met in 2005 in the regional, not the regional final, but the state semifinal game. They beat us by 1 point. We met again in 2007 back at St. Augustine. That time it wasn't as close, but again, those were schools names that I looked for on the schedule or in a classification that I knew those were teams that I had to beat. It wasn't from whether they were metro or non-metro, it was the name of a school. Like I shared with them at that point in time, is there something, a plan that we can come at or look at that identifies those 8-10 schools that are powerhouses, or folks considered to be powerhouses, and find a way to let them play amongst themselves. That's something that we'll play with, and folks can look at and talk about and see if that's something that might be something that we can evolve to as an idea, and sort of letting everybody else play. Because again, if I go back and think of myself as a coach back at North Marion, there were certain teams that I felt that Miami Northwestern, if we got against Miami Northwestern, I don't know if we could beat Miami Northwestern or could play with Miami Northwestern. So if those were away from it, what would my thought be at that point in time? But again, thinking back about kids and what kids feel is best, is it my role as an adult or as the coach to push forth my agenda, without even talking to my kids to see? Because just knowing kids in today's society, a lot of them want to play with the best. They don't, if they win a championship, they want to at least know that they played the best, beat the best to become that champion. So again, my fear is not to water down our championships where everybody's getting the medal, because we don't want it to be a participation award. We want it to mean something when you win a championship. And I'll share with you as a coach at North Marion, there for 20 years as assistant coach and as a head coach, we made the Final Four 3 times. I felt that our program was pretty reputable around the state of Florida as far as football is concerned, but never played for a state championship. In the history of our school, I think our football program played under a few years ago, played in the state championship game against Cardinal Gibbons, first time ever reaching a championship in football. And our baseball team under Coach Hall, Dale Hall, has made it twice, but we never won a state championship in a team sport. So does that deter from the success that the program's had? No, I think North Marion Athletic Program has put kids into college. They've helped kids improve grades so that they could graduate from high school, and they've made young men or young women into productive citizens in our community. And to me, those three things, if you do those three things, championships, that ring's gonna go in a box somewhere or in a drawer. People gonna forget, I can't even tell you right now who won the state championship 2 years ago in football, and I'm a football guy, because at some point in time, those things tend to go aside. But I can look in the community and see kids that I played for now, they own their own business, doing very well for themselves. I talked to former football player of mine from maybe 10, 15 years ago. One of them worked for the Secret Service now. One of them is pretty high up in the FBI. And to me, those things, they joke about, Coach, we never won a state championship. But yeah, I would love to win a state championship, but seeing those guys be successful like that, that means the world for them. Those things are priceless.
Yeah, I agree with you. The role of a coach isn't just to win, it's to develop young people, whether it's a male or female. When we're talking football, how do we get kids to become better young men? How to become great fathers and husbands? Mm-hmm. And you're right, it's a great feeling when you see that player and he's successful on all those different areas. Mm-hmm. And that's what high school athletics is about. But I am glad that we have that path, and we're going to start seeing the evolution of how things change. And I'm excited because, I've pressed, there could be negativity on how metro versus suburban is set up, but geez, the scheduling is out. This is the best scheduling I think I've ever seen in the last 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. And some of the matchups we see around the state are going to be fun to watch.
They definitely be fun to watch.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one last question. VSN is doing media days all over the state of Florida. I know you're going to do your best to get down to spend time with every one of those. How great is it to give the exposure to every one of the programs across the state of Florida?
That is exceptional. As the former coach, anytime a media day was offered, I tried to take my 3 or 4 captains and make sure they were there to build the reputation of our program throughout the state. And actually, I went to Baker's, was hosting one in Jacksonville, first one that we attended in Jacksonville. And I came back to Marion County and tried to emulate that with Marion County and Alachua County, counties up surrounding, and sort of started a Central Florida media day just so the kids in our area could get exposure. Because again, we weren't from the big city. We didn't have the Jaguars that opened up their facilities to allow us to put on an event like that, and we didn't have a Baker Sporting Good either in that town. But from some of the local support from the business leaders in our community, we were able to start that, and I think it's still continued in the area now. It's grown a little bit bigger, but it was great to have that exposure for those young men and those programs as well.
Well, I tell you what, we're excited to work with you as you continue to grow into your role, and Varsity Sports Network is going to be there to be as whatever role we need to do to help you support your cause. That is Craig Damon, the new Executive Director of the Florida High School Athletic Association. You're watching a Florida Gridiron Report, and we'll be back with my final thoughts.
The Varsity Sports Network is proud to present Media Days 2022. 16 live events from every corner of the state of Florida, preparing you for the upcoming 2022 football season. Check out all the events live on varsitysportsnetwork.org, on Facebook, Twitter, and also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. That's varsitysportsnetwork.org, the only 24/7 high school sports network.
We got dugout mugs here, baseball bats into a mug. Almost every baseball player ever has stepped into the batter's box and said, damn, wish I could drink out of my bat right now. Now you can. Look, it's nice, it's smooth, it holds liquid. We got Yankees, we got more Yankees, we got Aaron Judge Signature Series. We know you love him. So go get yourself a dugout mug. Put it on your shelf, build a collection like I have, or bring them to the tailgate, use them as their function is meant to, and everyone's gonna be coming up to you and say, dude, where'd you get that mug? That's so cool. You say Dugout Mugs.
Are you in the market for the finest athletic apparel available? Check out theimperialpoint.com. Fully sublimated designs, top quality, made in the USA apparel for any team and any fan. Check them out today at theimperialpoint.com or give them a call at 800-801-4884. Imperial Point Apparel, made in the USA.
All right, welcome back to the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network. I'm Dan LaForest. Xavier Avera. What a wonderful young man. Made his commitment to Ohio University, wants to study aerospace, 4.8 GPA. That's the kind of kid you want to root for. Played 1 year of high school football, and now he's going to find a way to live his dream. Shelton Crews from the FHSAA. Always great to catch up with Shelton. Always great to find out what the FHSAA is doing for the coaches around the state, as well as the players with the All-Star games. And Craig Damon, how exciting is it to hear from him himself, talk about his passion, talk about his agenda for the FHSAA moving into July 1st. He takes the reins from George Tomlin, and there is so much to be excited about if you play high school, if you coach high school, or you're just a high school fan here in the state of Florida. Well, guys, that's about all we've got. You're watching the Florida Gridiron Report right here on the Varsity Sports Network, and we'll see you next week.